Welcome to the Top 200 Podcast with your host, Herschel Fawn.
What's up, everybody? This is Herschel Fawn. Welcome back to the Monday morning meeting. Welcome back to where you get all your first 15 rugby news and highlights and all that kind of stuff as well. Pretty much the one stop where you go for all your information on first 15 rugby around New Zealand. And just find out all the best players around the country, all the best teams, how everyone's going, all the trends and stuff like that that's happening in first 15 rugby here in New Zealand. Yes, it is, and I'm going to answer this all the time, but it is my last year of doing high school top 200. And so I guess prepare to find your information from somewhere else after 2022. I don't know where. Someone else could probably do it, but for now, we've got our year, 2022, and it's started off pretty big, to be honest. I think what I've noticed about a lot of teams right now is that there are some teams that are being picked pretty much right up to the week before their first competition game. And if you're a school that is picking your main squad or your main team with only one game's preparation, you've pretty much almost already lost, to be honest. There's only a few teams that can really do that. Hamilton boys nail it down to maybe, I think, 32 boys. And then they just cut a few, but those boys feature throughout the whole year anyway. But from a lot of other teams, and I think Hamilton boys can afford to do that because of the way that the whole system is structured within Hamilton boys, and so they do get away with it. But everybody else, I don't understand how you can do that. I mean, if I was coaching a team, I would have it down with either 2 games of preseason. I would have had it already sussed. Well, I mean, I don't know, because I'm a bit different. I would have already sorted out the boys that I knew were coming back next year. I would have sorted out who the under 15s and 16s were, making sure that I have my squad pretty much chosen before school comes back, and then have that one ready trial just to see what under 16s pop up or second 15 pop up, new kids that come to school, and then make small adjustments, but then actually have your team sussed out from then anyway, just so that there's no playing around with rosters trying to get guys, I guess, acclimated to and get combinations right. I would have just had that done already anyway. But so I see that there's some teams that are still trying to sort it out now, the season started and now they're not sure on who their combinations are, which is pretty terrible. It is pretty terrible, especially in those bigger competitions. But yeah, it's just one of those things that I'm not too sure why coaches do stuff like that. It doesn't help. Really doesn't help. It doesn't help the players, for one, because boys are still trying to figure out are they in the team or not right up to the week before they start competition. I think that's pretty bad, to be honest. But anyways, there was only one game on Wednesday. That was Western Heights High School. They played the second 15 for Rotorua boys, and Rotorua boys second 15 is really sharp. They are pretty much a second 15, or the first 15 that just. They just couldn't make their first 15, and you can see why when their first 15 is number 1 in the country. It's you can understand why their second 15 put up 52 points against Western Heights first 15, which is actually just down the road. It's not far at all from Rotorua boys, which is strange, I guess. I mean, if you think about it, all those boys that are in second 15 could just go down to Western Heights and be in the Western Heights first 15. And probably get more game time, probably, I guess, make that team somewhat of a team that can travel a lot more. I don't know. something like that. I guess it sounds great, but I guess in theory it might not work out the same way. But that competition in Bay of Plenty, it looks like early on that Rotorua boys second 15 is probably going to win that one, because the Tauranga second 15 is also in it, and they are also pretty good too. But it's hard to find what first 15 is really going to match up to those two teams, which is, it's just the way that it is, kind of. Just kind of the way it is, really. On Tuesday, I went to the New Plymouth Boys and Auckland Grammar game. New Plymouth Boys were ranked number 23 in the country. Auckland Grammar wasn't ranked. But overall, I wasn't impressed at all with any team, to be honest. And then, it may sound really too blunt, but there was no consistency in any of the teams. There was no firepower in any of the teams. I felt like it just felt like whoever got the momentum first could win the game or at least run away with the game. And no team even I guess got anything remotely close to getting any kind of momentum. And in all honesty, I was looking at New Plymouth Boys winning this by at least 15 points. I mean, they're the ones that have Jacob in their team, Jacob Mitchell in their team. And even this is the first time I've ever seen him play where he didn't shine, which was strange to me. Even Cullum was the same. At first 5, he didn't really shine either, and he usually does. I don't know what it was about that game. I don't know what it was about the day. For me, I talked about this with somebody else, is that to me, I thought Ramsey's probably would have been better at second 5, have Sam pushed out to centre, and just played really kind of simple rugby of crash, ball set, and then fire it out. And have Ramsey's take the ball up like a league player like he usually does. And then have just really set the tone just off that. And give them those hit-ups like a league player like Ramsey is, and just would have played it that way. I mean, I found it hard to watch in the way that, even Eddie Clayton on the other side with Monty Parkinson, and those two are such a good pairing, but at the same time, they weren't given time, they weren't given space, and then once it left the hands of Monty, it wasn't really going anywhere else besides to that defensive line and stopping. Junior again was for Auckland Grammar was another standout to me. Obviously he got that card, which he's a pretty overzealous dude, but I don't think that he did it on purpose. And it was just one of those timing ones, and the ball was in the air kind of thing, and tackled, but it was just him just playing his heart out. Really, it's just this 100% just went wrong, I guess. But in terms of the whole game, I just wasn't really impressed with it at all, and I felt like New Plymouth lost a chance to actually win this game, and they played a better game against Whanganui Collegiate, and what they did there was a lot better, I thought. And then what they turned up with on Tuesday was just not what I was expecting. Just really wasn't. And Auckland Grammar, I guess, took all the right opportunities to finish that game and wrap it up for them. And even the ending, if some of you guys have seen the footage of it, man, it was such a strange ending. And I didn't even know why I kept recording, because I was thinking, it was us. I thought New Plymouth just won it, and it was just an easy, whatever. And you got to watch the footage, you got to watch the footage to see how that all like turned out at the end. But I just thought the whole thing was strange. I did go to Paeroa after that game, and I went and watched Katikati College, Thames High School, and also Te Kaupata College play. And obviously they're not top 100 kind of teams, but they still love the sport. They still love the game. They still play their heart out and all that kind of stuff. And then you do find guys that I just look at and go, he could make it in this team. He could be a part of this. He's good enough to play here. Or like all those kind of things. And there were a few boys that I liked. I mean, the number 10 and the number 8 and the number 14 for Thames. There was those three. Those were ones that I really liked from Thames High School. And then Katikati College, their captain, who was the centre, who probably should have moved into second 5 or first 5. He was another one that I liked, and I thought that he was really good. And he could obviously slot into some of these CNI teams or like higher teams, and and really add a lot of value. But they have like in the Thames Valley competition, there's like Paeroa is another good school that is doing really good. But the other one is like is Mercury Bay College, and it's an area school too. But like their scores have been like pretty hard out. Like they played Te Aroha College, which Te Aroha is actually a really good basketball school and has been for maybe like the last 4 years or so. But Mercury Bay Area School, they played Te Aroha College and they scored 116 points on them, which was strange. Like that's almost like a top-rated school playing a school like that. So there must be something to it. And Thames Valley, who never lost against Katikati and also Te Kaupata, they lost 24-38 to Mercury Bay. And so, there's something to Mercury Bay Area School, and I mean, I don't know if I'll ever get to see them, but it'll be pretty cool to watch one of their games and see why they can score 116 points. I mean, maybe it might just be Te Aroha, but I mean, Mercury Bay Area School, they scored 116-0 on Te Aroha College. Te Aroha College scored 90 points on Whangamata Area School. So what happens when Mercury Bay plays Whangamata Area School? Was this like 200 points or something? Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, jeepers. Like, what's going on there with this, like, imbalance? You talk about imbalance, that's imbalance. And that's the lower end of, like, first 15 rugby, too. But I know Paeroa and Waihi, they've got really good schools. They've got really good teams right now. And maybe they just need a bit of... maybe it's more just coaching. Maybe it is just coaching, Maybe it is trying to get more... coaching camps, which is something that I really wanted to do in high school top 200, was like coaching camps and trying to get more boys exposed to higher levels of coaching. I really wanted to try and get players that were part of the high school top 200 in the past that have all gone into Super Rugby and that, and try and get them to come and just do positional coaching camps with as much kids that want to come and be involved in it, and just sort of take that thing around, because for private schools and for big rugby schools, they get a lot of the coaching anyway. They get a lot of that coaching anyway. For the smaller schools, they don't, and it's just a matter of, I guess, trying to get people to go out there, I guess. I mean, like, that was the first time I went to Paeroa that way. I've been to Paeroa a few times from Waikato end, but I've never gone from the Auckland side of it, and going through Ngātea and all that kind of stuff, and Morrinsville and that. Like, I've all been from, like, but so like those kind of areas need, I reckon, need like a boost from ex-pro players. But that's like one of the things that I wanted to do for high school top 200, and I wish I was able to do that. The other game that was on, I think, on the Wednesday, and I still haven't been sent the footage. I was supposed to get sent it, but it just hasn't come. They haven't sent it through. But it was a Southland and John McGlashan game, and John McGlashan, causing the upset. Southland will fall out of the top 10 for sure. John McGlashan will move up for sure. By how much, I don't know. But it does actually change sort of the landscape of what the South Island is right now. And I think, and the way that I see it is that, John McGlashan lost to Tauranga Boys. St. Thomas, who's the other big school, also lost to Tauranga Boys. Southland beat Christchurch Boys. Christchurch beat Kings. Kings also beat, Napier. And Rosmini beat Kings. And Rosmini lost to Napier as well by 45 points. Now, all of that, putting all that stuff kind of together, does sort of give me, and this is just the way that I think about it because I've seen this stuff over the years, but it gives me sort of the backdrop to how the South Island is looking. Now, we all got to wait for Otago Boys to see what they turn out like, and to all you boys that say Otago Boys that fell sick over the last week or so, just get better, do all the things that you're supposed to do, and be careful of those and mindful of those around you, especially all your olds and all your nanas and papas around as well, but get better. Don't worry about rugby till you're better, because rugby's just a sport. It really is just a game. But in terms of the landscape of who the best is from the South Island, you are looking at John McGlashan, you are looking at Christchurch Boys, you are looking at St. Thomas, and Southland Boys as well. But how does the order fall? Right now, it's looking like John McGlashan is the best in the South Island. And with the experienced team that they have, and Josh Farmer wasn't even playing. Josh Farmer and Mitch Morton weren't even playing. And those two are probably, those two are actually their best players. I would say that. Along with Jack Timu, who was also a beast. And remember, I spoke about Jack Timu and Josh Farmer last week, and how they should be in the mix for New Zealand secondary school rep honours, either from New Zealand secondary schools or New Zealand Barbarians, but their names should be in that conversation. And I'm guessing that if they end up top of the South Island by the end of this year, they should probably have like a pretty strong bid for those honours too, and which will be that'll be pretty cool. George Bell was probably the last one. And we see him in the Crusaders right now, so which is cool. Whanganui Collegiate, they beat Hatupolda 78-14. Paeroa College also played Whangamata Area School and won 79-0. Got to see Fielding, how dominant they were against Francis Douglas. That St. Kennigan's St. Peter's game was also one of those games that sort of, even though St. Peter's won, it wasn't clear-cut, wasn't convincing. Both sides weren't convincing, and it was just a really hard-fought game. And both teams left a few points out there on the field, which was kind of surprising. Both centres gone off, which was Siale was. I hope Siale's all right. Saw him limping off. I hope he's okay. But when that break that he made to when he got injured, that was like one of those ones as well. That was sort of the definition of why he is so good, so strong and so physical. And then him just trying to get those around him into the game as well is going to be the key for that back line. Is that once he makes that break, his head's got to be on a swivel, and he's got to be looking around for those opportunities to extend that play and not let it kind of die with him. And they're going to score so much points out of that as well, because just of how destructive and devastating he is as a player by himself. I'll talk about the Napier one soon. St. John's College in Hamilton beat Whanganui Collegiate 46-3 in what was a really good game as well. I hope the injury toll's not too bad for St. John's and they'll be alright. Cowston was a good game as well against Sacred Heart. Talk about Hastings soon as well as Palmy. The King's College one was a given, I think, against Liston College. Matamata and St. John's have the same problem. Matamata got done over by Tauranga boys 56-0, and that's just looking like the old Matamata, which is not what they are right now. Matamata and St. John's have the same problem. Matamata and St. John's need to believe that they're good enough. They need to believe and understand that they are some of the top teams in the country, and not be so down on themselves and look and not think of themselves as a smaller school in terms of rugby, because it's not how it is. They both have squads that are good enough to be top 25 schools. Even though Regan Arson wasn't playing, they still have enough boys there to get it done. To me, it's just that belief system, and St. John's also suffer from it. And I hope St. John's, Hamilton figure out by now that they're one of the best teams in the country and they play like it. They don't have to chirp back and forth with other teams and show that insecurity of I'm trying to prove that I'm here. It's like, no, you're already good enough. You don't need to have back chat with other boys on the other side. Just because they say something doesn't mean you're losing the battle. That kind of thing is, so I don't understand that. But Matamata got done up. They got touched up by Tauranga boys, and it shouldn't have been that score. I mean, even if they lost the game, it shouldn't have been 56 points, and it shouldn't have been no points. That's just, to me, it's just Matamata not believing in themselves, because they're such a good side. St. Thomas beating St. Andrews was a given, 40 points to 17. That was pretty much what I thought it was being. Marlborough boys is actually a lot better than what I thought they were going to be. St. Bede's didn't have Tanner in their Stowers Smith, which is strange, but I think I was told he was out for 2 weeks. But whether that's true or not, I know that he missed this game, and they really needed him. Westlake beat Rosmini by 2 points, 16-14. Manurewa beat Takapuna by 24-16. Now, I have a problem with this because Takapuna should not come close to beating Manurewa at all. It shouldn't be those points. Manurewa have 3 players who could be New Zealand rep honours. They got 5 players that should be in the running for under 18s Chiefs, and they've got 3 players that next year can also be under 18s Chiefs. And they're playing against Takapuna, who have a bunch of new guys, like so many new guys on their team, all first-year players. And the game ended 24-16. Manurewa need to be better than that. To be honest, with the team that they have, with the experience that they have a full forward pack coming back. They have a full front rows coming back. They have experienced players, first fives back, halfbacks back. They've got so much attacking weapons on their side, and that's just not, to me, that's just not good enough. 24-16 is not good enough at all. And I think if they play like that, they're going to lose more games. They would lose to Westlake, Rosmini, and Massey, and actually Whangarei with a score like that. Because Takapuna's not better than any of those other teams. But I mean, if Takapuna can do that, Takapuna can also beat Rosmini and Westlake if they play like that. Now, that may be a great positive for Takapuna, but for Manurewa, who's got some stars, is like, that's not good enough, to be honest. Now, moving on to the Super 8 versus the Wellington teams. Obviously the Super 8 won that one easy. And I've said this before, but I have a fear of Wellington area running low on talent. And it's going to be a sad day when they really, really do lose out on as a whole of the city. They're going to have to be at a point where they have to put all the best players into a Wellington side, and then they could only compete that way. That's why I was talking about Porirua combined. One of my write-ups is like, if Porirua combined was like, I think if you got all the best players in Porirua and then all the best players in Wellington, I would take the Porirua schools over Wellington schools. Easy. I'll take all the Porirua boys that are all from Porirua, put them in the team over all the boys that are from Wellington. I mean, and it was kind of sad, like watching Wellington get beat up, St. Pat's Town get beat up, Scots College getting beat up. Silverstream were the only ones that won against Gisborne, but the first half was not easy at all. And I mean, I didn't watch the second half. I'm going to watch it, but I didn't watch the second half where they got their lead, but and scored all their points in the second half. But that first half wasn't good at all. And I think if it was Palmy versus like Silverstream, Palmy would have won that one. If it was Hastings versus Silverstream, or and Gisborne and Scots, like I think it would have been different. I think Gisborne would have won that one too. I think Silverstream's the strongest down there right now. Scots left out Sione and Yeti I saw him on the sideline. He was injured. Callum got injured right in the beginning of the game with a shoulder, and I hope he's okay. It looked like it popped out, and I understand why they just pulled him. If he could have kept on playing, I understand why they pulled him, because you still got a season to go. But it was just hard to sort of watch those Wellington schools sort of suffer like that. But yeah, like I don't know. So the other ones are, like we go back to it, right? So DLSL coming up pretty strong. What is going on with Aotearoa? Like, is something wrong going? Them losing to Botany Downs in pre-season was pretty bad. And then Dilworth scoring 57 points on Aotearoa College is not a good look either. Aotearoa has been sort of building this really, really strong side for a while now, and the program is getting better and better, but this does not look good at all. Even though Dilworth has a good side, like they're pretty okay, they're solid bit of solid kind of team, but you just expect more from Aotearoa College of this, and like I didn't expect that kind of scoreline at all. Like, even if they lost, it'd be like, okay, fair enough, they lost, but not 57-12 lost. That's not something that is sort of normal for those two sides. Mag showed up and won on their home ground, and their centennial match against Auckland Grammar. My dad was happy. I mean, he's an old Mags boy, so he was happy about it. It was just one of those kind of things. But, the way that they won 37-10, and, that is what you would like to see in a top 25 kind of school. Like, I don't know if they'll be there just from, like, the juggling around of schools. I think if Auckland Grammar won this one as well, beating New Plymouth Boys and winning this one would have been a good show for them in terms of the top 25, but because of that scoreline being so big, it doesn't look good for New Plymouth boys or Auckland Grammar in terms of top 25 standings. I mean, Manurewa lost as well, so there is going to be some room and leverage for movement up and down from those. And I said it before, it's like those 7 kind of spots from, where Otago boys at 21 to, about 29 to where Christ College is. And Christ College had a pretty good win too. But it's all those spots in between a real kind of vulnerable spots from 21 to 29. And so the juggle of sort of teams within that area, even Silverstream winning is a good show. But at the same time, it's just like, to be more impressive with the wins is also another thing that, the way that is done as well is one of those kind of things that I look at too. And the 1B for Auckland, St. Paul's gave, touched up Howard College a bit. Not the Howard College that I thought we were going to get this year, but it looks like it's, I don't know, we might have to wait till next week. Otahu came through like I thought. Tamaki College has got a team back again. Botany Downs 133-7 over One Tree Hill, which is actually a really good score. Even McLean's College, winning 43-11. And Ongehanga getting a win too. So, I don't know. Botany Downs look like they're going to move up pretty fast, as well as St. Paul's, seeing what's going to happen with them. Hauraki Plains beating Rosehill. Like, there's going to be quite a bit of change in that bottom 70 to 100 kind of area. Rosehill need to fall off a bit. Alfriston looked pretty cool. Tuakau also made sort of a statement with their win. But then I am also looking at these ones like Pairo and Waihi and Thames High School and that do occupy those bottom kind of teams. I mean, Pukekohe lost to St. John's second 15, 31-14, which is a bit of a surprise. Rotorua High School had a big win, even though it was over a third 15 from St. Paul's. It was still a really good win with 65 points, which does say a lot for them as a school. And then as those grading games and the Waikato cut down, you'll be able to see more of these competitive games like Te Aomuru playing as well. Tukaroa High School getting a win over Fraser High School. Tikawiti getting a big win over Patararu as well. Those kind of games I like. Hillcrest and Oto's Otrahanga also got a win as well, which was good, 57-10. And so next week on the grading games, I'm going to have a look at what next week looks like and then see where all those competitive games start to cut down. And then we'll see what happens with that end. But even Mount Wanganui getting a win over Western Heights. And Mount Wanganui College 38-15. Like I said, Tauranga boys second 15 won 53-12 over Taupo Nui Aotea College. And, Taupo lost 3 players this year, and who are all starting for first 15s at bigger colleges as well. And so they have lost a lot of firepower, and they would have been really good, but then in terms of really fronting up and having competitive and all that kind of stuff and being seen and all that kind of stuff that usually goes along with it, you just don't really know. Maybe they need to get into a better competition or make sure the competition's a lot stronger. Trident getting a good win over Whakatane High School. Trident is not like a traditionally good school in terms of rugby, but they do bring out some players every once in a while that are real quality players, and they're a hard player. They're a hard team to play. I mean, I remember playing against them twice when I was at high school. They weren't pretty scores, but they never backed down or anything like that. They were those kind of schools. John Paul College looked really good. Winning over Papamoa. Howard High School is another school that country school that I think should get a lot more attention. And the rest of the CNI, St. Paul's winning over Lindisfarne, Rathkill beating St. John's Hastings, and then the draw between St. Peter's Cambridge and also Wesley is going to be a difficult one to kind of look at as well, and then seeing what happened. Because I was pretty sure that, St. Peter's School would have had that one, especially with how many young guys that there are. Cody Vaya's there, Cash Farmer's there. And you'd think George Muir's been there for, this is his third year in a row now. So you'd think that they would have a bit more experience and at a higher level. But, obviously Wesley fought that one out, and so maybe Wesley's getting there earlier than expected, and they have a squad. I'm not saying that Wesley was going to be useless. I'm just saying that I think next year is going to be when the dangerous Wesley team comes out. If someone from Hibs or Rongotai have a copy of that game, I would love to see that game. Rongotai won 17-8. Even that St. Brendan's and Minor College won 21-10. That's a really good score. Even the Hutt Valley and Taita College won 2. Bishop Viard getting a good win over Paraparaumu College. Wairarapa, winning 70-7 over Nainai, which I kind of expected. Tawa and Porirua. Tawa getting 22-17 over Porirua College. But that regulation, Wellington regulation grading games is going to be really hard to choose. Those teams, or whoever misses out, I think they're all kind of real even and sort of that, maybe they need, I don't know. It's hard to add more teams to it, but, you got Wairarapa, Hutt Valley, Bishop Viard, Mana College, St. Bernard's, Hibs, and Rongotai. I guess whoever misses out going to dominate the second division. Kind of the way that it looks. Christ, but it's just one of those things. I guess someone has to miss out. Christ College winning 42-7 over Waimea. Shirley beating Timaru Boys by a point, and then Selwyn Combined beating Rangiora High School's 47-0, which was massive as well. And Combined is sort of one of those schools that has been building for about 3-4 years now. And it looks like it's paying off. If I was the boys in that area, I probably wouldn't move. I'd probably stay there as long as the system's going to be the same. I don't think there would be any sort of rush to move. King's High School came back with a pretty good win over St. Kevin's 48-0. Tyree College almost. Over Dunstan, almost won over against Dunstan 36-22, and because there's no Otago Combined, Tyree College have I wish the other schools would lend players to them. I don't know how that's going to work out for those other teams, but I guess they got something worked out. South Otago High School won 36-26 over Otago Boys second 15, and Mount Aspiring put up a pretty big score. It wasn't what I expected to be over Wakatipu High School, 48-18. That's pretty big. I would have thought it would be a lot closer, like 28-18, something like that, or 18-12. Like it just didn't seem like that. I think they have pretty similar squads in the way that they're built. But that would be a pretty good game to watch, that Mount Aspiring one against Wakatipu. The rankings have changed. The rankings are going to change for sure. There is going to be quite a bit of movement. And there always is, kind of like in the first, 5 weeks, 6 weeks of the rankings, because, I get to learn who's for real and who's not. I get to also learn who's worth being in what part of the top rankings are they going to get. Sometimes sometimes teams look better on paper. Just like any other professional team, they look better on paper, and then it just doesn't seem to work out. Or other teams have boys that just shoot up, or just they just switch it, and they find out how easy it became, or how good they got over the summer. And so a lot of these teams I'll be looking at moving up, and some of the, especially in the lower part of the rankings from 70 to 100, is going to be quite a bit of movement, and then sorting out those teams week after week, trying to get sort of the right mix of who belongs where. And so those key losses are going to be really important as well. And then big scorelines is also going to be another one that's going to be one that I sort of focus on too, and see how it all works out. But any questions, anything that you want to ask, hit me up. Let me know. I'll do some homework and I'll send it back out to you in the next videos. I might do a prediction video towards the end of this week. I just see how it feels putting out my predictions, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, have a look out for that. The top 200 is going to be changing up, as well as the year 12 top 100 is also going to be changing. And then I forgot to do my team of the week last week for my first week. Terrible. I didn't even look at my notes properly and I missed that. But I'll be doing it for the second week, and it's from games that I've watched or attended. So if I've been sent a game, or I've watched it online, or watched it on Sky, I judge from those that I actually see and watch and all that kind of stuff. And then I pick the best 23 from those games, and then I put that out as my team of the week. And that will come out on the Wednesday after I watch all the games. I watched, apart from the 4 games that I went to on Saturday, and from, I guess, the week. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I watched 8 games over this past week. I attended 8 games over this past week. And then I watched the one on Sky. I watched a few of them that were on Sideline Live, which is gets really good coverage. I've got to watch some more of that also maybe tonight. And then even on Sunday I watched those that have added me on Huddle. So if you want to add me on Huddle as well, it's just High School Top 200. And just add me on there, so I can see you guys' games too. But yeah, that's where I picked my team of the week. But that's it. And yeah, hope everyone has a good week. Keep safe. Later, boat.